Hi guys, Puddin here with a game for you, my Tier 10 Japanese torpedo boat, the Shimakaze. Now, my captain skills will be preventative maintenance, expert marksman, last stand, survivability expert, torpedo reload, RPF, and concealment. My modules are going to be protect my main battery, faster repairs on the rudder, faster aim, concealment, faster torp reload, and what is FR? I forget what the last one is. I'm sorry, guys. But as you can see, the first thing I did in chat besides going hello is I let my team know I'm running the 20-kilometer torps for lulls. Now, some of the reason I'm particularly making this video is because you do get the fail to the tops, or the guys who just don't do well getting to the top, and they get the Shimakaze and they think 20-kilometer torps. Oh, this is going to be great. But they send them willy-nilly without thinking. And I'm sure most of us here understand the severity that could be these 20-kilometer torps of just nuking out friendlies. So there's one key moment in this game, which is half of the reason I wanted to show this, and the other half of the reason is 20-kilometer torps, as I say, never hit what you aim at, and usually hit everything else. The other thing is, most people won't suspect them. Now, as you can see, I was going to sea, and instead of playing behind the island, I was going to take a different approach and play more around that island up there. Be there, kind of get angled, because most people are going to go behind that island. Now, I was targeting the Yamato with my torps, and if I sail out of cap for a brief second, I'm fine with that, because there's not a much, I didn't have a lot of cap points, it wasn't nearly capped, and it can slowly just back in. But as you can see, there is a Mogami, which does have 10-kilometer torps, who is now going broadside to an awful lot of ships, including several battleships that can just outright delete him, as somebody definitely got a Citadel with a couple of pens. Now, because of the way I approached it, this guy's probably going to send panic torpedoes. I'm about to die. I might as well torp and pray to God I hit something. But because of the way I was angled, it's going to be very easily for me to just engage the engines, reverse, and hopefully dodge them. The other thing is, like I said, is sometimes people just don't expect 20-kilometer torps. If nobody knows how to read the in-game chat on far as what they have, or have that mod that tells you what the individual has, most people are going to suspect you have 12-kilometer torps. They're a lot more versatile. But we did get a hit on the Yamato, and you know what? Floods used to be, the end all to everything. Now, what the Minotaur did is the correct thing. He saw I was angled, he's sending his torps, just to hope he gets them, but he calls out in chat, DD, watch out for torps. He knows I'm at least looking at chat, or I have the ability to use the chat because I've used an F key and I have said something. Now, I'm not making fun of this Iowa, I'm not trying to call him out, but he's going to do something that just annoys me. He saw the way I was positioned, he pushed in there, and then he's like, I need intelligence data. Like really? We all do. Nothing spotted. Nobody knows where the Iriguma is. But I have RPF. So, usually what happens when I sight in like this with RPF is I definitely want to get to, looking straight ahead, where the RPF is pointing. And if it's moving, I try to do it from usually left to right or right to left, depending on how the individual is moving. So people know it's, it was here and now it's here. So he is traversing. We see a Zao, and I was going to send torps, in the hopes that he was going to go between those gaps, or in reality live long enough. So, but as you can see, I'm sending torps where my friendlies aren't. Believe it or not, I'm constantly paying attention to the minimap when I am sending these torps. The Hiragumo was spotted shooting. I kind of slowed down in case he sent torpedoes, because I don't want to get hit with those torpedoes. I'm also trying to take approach to where my torpedoes are going to fit between those islands and make it all the way across the map. Because as you can see, it's not a bad gap on where they're going to come and possibly push to. It's at this point I realized the Hiragumo can't be torping because he's shooting. If he wasn't shooting, he'd probably be torping. But I wasn't sure when he sent torps, so I was still trying to get a little bit closer to see this. It's at this point somebody in chat and myself, kind of at the same time, says, screw this guy, let's just go to B. He said it in chat, or I'm sure he was typing it as I was turning, but I was still trying to screen for torpedoes for my fleet. And that's the thing, with the 20-kilometer torps, you can play extremely close to your fleet because your torpedoes can reach out and touch someone, even though they are highly visible, but still. Sometimes people are in a situation where they can't turn, don't expect them, didn't realize what you were running, and usually by then it's a little bit too late. Now these torpedoes look good on the Iowa. He's slowing down because he sees torpedoes, but that's the other thing that these torpedoes do. They make people move or do things they might not normally want to do. Do you really think the Iowa wants to sit there broadside to everybody? No. But these torpedoes made him slow down. And there we go. Aimed at the Iowa, sort of, and hit the Neptune. And that's what most people mean by area of deniement, or denial. Now, I'm actually trying to send these torps to hit A, the Missouri, B, the Iowa. But see, here's another thing that's about to happen, is I'm slowly creeping up, and I do believe, well, no, it wasn't the Missouri. I thought a chance that it was the Missouri radar, but it was something else that popped its radar, and luckily I missed it. Now, I don't know my stern from aft or from whatever, and even if the game said left from right, I still wouldn't know. But if you have a problem like me, just look at the little torpedo indicator, and it's kind of from behind as I step on cap. Now, really what I want to do is keep these guys spotted. Looks like most of my fleet is just going to go bow into this stuff and, you know what, try to face tank, do some damage, maybe not get in the way of the torpedoes or possibly get hit by them. But when my torpedoes is, I get another hit on, spoiler, the 4 Neptune, who I was not even aiming at. And unfortunately, he is flooding. The only question is, will he flood out? And I'm turning my guns to shoot at him because at that amount of health, you need to shoot your guns. I had smoke, but luckily my the flood that I did get on him finished him off. Now, what I'm about to do, some people may question, but what I'm doing right now is just trying to keep the Alaska spotted. In all honesty, with the radar changes, I don't know the Alaska's radar range off the top of my head. But I do know it's one of two things. It's either 10 or 9 kilometers. And I'm going to go with the more severe, it's 10 kilometers. But as you can see, I can drop torps on the Missouri, which is almost going to be dead. But then there's an Iowa at 20 kilometers. So what I'm going to do is send these torps over here. And this is for a particular reason. I hold one set. Now I got the cap and I'm going to start maneuvering. And the reason I was sitting still is because I knew I could outspot most things. And I had my smoke available to where I can maneuver and get out. What I'm about to do is something questionable. But more importantly, I want to pause it right here. And unfortunately, I have a sniffle. But as we can see, there's the Alaska. He's well within torp range. There's a Hiraguma. But more importantly, there's a Kurfürst here at 12 kilometers. In Iowa at 12 kilometers. And they are all maneuvering. More or less likely what this Alaska is going to do is one of two things. He's going to haul ass forward, turn, and die to either Iowa, or if the Kurfürst got shot, to him. Or they're all going to get over pens and whatever. Or he's going to reverse. Now, if he makes his turn, I can send torps. And the reason I can send torps is because of this island right here. The island will eat all the torps instead of my two battleships that are in a position to potentially eat torps. If I had 12 kilometer torps, I can send them if he reverses and not worry about the Kurfürst. All I got to do is say, hey, Kurfürst, I sent torps, please be careful. But the other thing is, you know, because I have that one set, I could still potentially send it to something over in this area. Or in this area. I do not want to send, if you're looking at the mini-map, down anywhere in this area because there are friendlies. Like I said, if I had 12, I could do it. The other thing I'm going to do is, you can see I'm positioned facing this way. I am going to smoke up and start pew-pewing this guy. Because if he pops his radar, I speed boost straight to this island, and I'm relatively safe while taking minimum damage. That is why I kind of sent torpedoes out in this direction, because if they get a hit, great. If not, whatever. It just gives these guys something to think about, that, oh no, there's two sets, where is the third set? And now, we'll just get back to the action and see it all play out. But like I said, those torps are going towards the Iowa, and with the range of these things, he has plenty of times to maneuver back into them, back out of them, or whatever. Now, prior to doing all this, I did sight the Alaska for torpedoes just to see what he was doing. Which is why I went with this decision. But the whole time I was sitting there camping, that was what was going through my mind until the DD popped up. But this is what I mean. Look how close I am to that island, to where I could just skedaddle forward and be out of this gentleman's gun range. The only issue is going to be the DD. The other thing is, if the DD is sending torps, I do believe I'm in a relatively good position to avoid them. But you know what? Because I sent all those torps, you know, the Kurfürst may have stayed bowed in a little bit longer than he wanted. He may have turned bow in when he didn't want to do. I don't know, because A, I'm not that player, and I wasn't paying attention to that situation because I was dealing with what is in front of me, i.e. the Alaska. I can, you know, Kurfürst is plenty far enough away to where I didn't have to worry. Now, some of the nice thing about these 12 see, I'm so used to using 12. About the 20s is they do reload a little bit faster than the 12s, I do believe. The F3s are, I believe, are the fastest loading of the torps. I could be wrong. But what I'm trying to do is get him to turn back in, and he's not having any of that. He's not falling for it. But the other thing that I find interesting is his secondaries aren't going off on me, which makes me believe he's not running a secondary build, and I accidentally run into the Iowa. Another reason for those torps was there was a smoke cloud. Not sure where the smoke cloud went. Well, let's send out torps to potentially, if he maneuvers to drop his torpedoes, he may run into them, but it's another battleship I'm going to run into. Lol. Now, I did compliment these two guys for not being jerks about me running into them, because it was pretty much one right after another. But another thing is, battleships have the right-of-way, guys. They don't move fast. They're not very maneuverable. Even the fast maneuverable ones aren't fast and maneuverable. Not compared to destroyers and not compared to cruisers. There are some cruisers that are horrific at maneuvering, but 9 times out of 10, the battleships have the right-of-way. Now, this is another thing that I did want to show is, you know what, use your guns, guys. Getting into a knife fight with a Hiraguma is usually stupid. But when he was in smoke, somebody had him on radar or hydro, which means I can get a few shots. I have plenty of teammates to help me. You know, these guys are quickly just dying. The Iowa that is comically within torp range, I'm never going to get, because if I torp him, I'm probably going to kill the curve first, kill the Minotaur, and possibly kill the Iowa. And you're like, wow, all of that? Yes. These torpedoes are just that vicious against teammates. Hell, I might even kill the entire team with these torps, and that's the attitude I take into playing the Shimakaze with 20 torps. I can potentially kill everybody on my team with just one drop of all of them. And ironically, I think, yay, Iowa, got a kill, time extension. I'm still never going to make it in time. So instead of you guys watching me watch these guys shoot everybody, we are just going to check out the post-battle results. Now, I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. And like I said, some of the reason I wanted to make this is show that 20 kilometer torps are still viable, but maybe to help out the players that just get the ship and are having an issue getting the torpedoes to work for them. You got to remember, you're running with these torps, you need to play a little bit closer to the fleet. You need to be aware of what the fleet is doing, because your torpedoes can reach out and touch someone. Especially with all of the radar changes, i.e. the radar buffs, and that's what I'm going to call them. These torpedoes may be a lot more viable than some people think. We do appreciate all the support you guys do give us. We do love the replays you send us. The email for that is in the description down below. Please remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and have yourselves one heck of a great day.